Welcome to the September 30th Jail and Zones production user call. We have Antranig, Jamie, Oliver, Dan, Alexander, and myself, Michael, so far. And thank you everyone who made EuroBhyvecon 2025 such a success. It was awesome. It was diverse. It was intense. It was up to the minute. It was great. The full day video is online, and I will chop that up into little segments as soon as I get it. I did include, Jamie, the updates you kindly sent me in advance in the opening session. We had an improv open BSD VMM, was it SVM secured virtualization talk. I might have the acronym wrong. Heck, I'll pull that out. And there was an immunes talk, and we've had like Dennis and company on the call here about immunes, which is now interactive in that you can like design a network and it pushes it out. They're still working on beehives, but they are all from the electrical engineering university that the event took place at. So that was like the whole gang was there. I put them in touch with Olivier to discuss Union FS. They've been using it for years in production, if you will. And so they had a good discussion. And let's see, there was the very first Beehive swag. This is, in fact, a symbolic hypervisor. You put the thing on the container on top and you put like VMs in it and fill it with, I don't know, your beverage of choice. And do check out the recordings online. Patrick will have those all segmented out in the next few weeks, but it was awesome. And Eric from Moderium gave out his presentation on floppy, and maybe during this call, I'll see if I can access that. Anyway, keep your topics coming. Antranig, you had some networking questions about /64
Yes, sir.
smaller subnets. What you got?
So, Patrick Hausen?
Yeah, he was.
Patrick Hausen was giving an amazing talk on how Punk.de is managing their own FreeBSD infrastructure with their own data center. Now, their own data center part was actually very fun and easy to manage, which is, I mean, that's the case with all on-prems, let's be honest. But when they moved to Hetzner, or some of their network moved to Hetzner, they get a single slash 64, right? They get a single slash 64. So my question is, if anyone here has a single slash 64, how do you how do you manage it for jails? So like, do you have one slash 128 on the external interface, then the slash 64 on the in on a bridge, and then I mean, how would that work? If Jan was here, I think he would have known the answer immediately. But because my feeling is that while it's working for Patrick, I feel like he's violating the RFC, specifically where like multiple networks on different, like you have it on the bridge and you have it on the. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. I'm not sure because Jan has a good wiki article about like how you should not do IPv6, and I'm not sure if I got it right. Now, in an actual production environment, you wouldn't have a like a single slash 64, right? You would have a slash 64 on a specific, what do you call that? On a specific host, and then the operator would give you something like a slash 48 or a slash, Michael, I think in your house we got a slash 56, right, from your ISP. Then we divided it into multiple networks in your house. So that's how I would do it typically, right? So that's where I'm confused. If anyone has any ideas on that part with jails, VNet jails specifically, that would be nice because I'm configuring a FreeBSD network right now, which is in a similar scenario, right? Volter is giving me a single slash 64. Now I can get more. That's not the point. But if I have a single slash 64, how should I configure my networking for everything else to work? So that's where I'm confused at. That's the long story short version of this, of my question. If you don't have the answer, that's fine. I guess we can answer it later also in the document because this seems to be a complicated topic even for the pros. Other than
I'm
that,
trying to find a
yeah,
chat channel he happens to be on, but he was pretty particular. So
trying to find
see
the
what I can
chat
do.
channel that he happens to be on.
Telegram,
So
Matrix, Signal, other one, other one, other one. Go ahead, continue.
to find,
I'll try to invite him in
yeah.
real time.
Nothing else. Any jail updates on my end? I guess not. Plausible is working in a jail. I don't know if
Plausible, what
anyone
does
cares.
plausible do?
Plausible is a Google Analytics alternative.
Oh, I've
open
heard of other
source.
ones, but that's a new one. Do you have a link, Ham?
Yes, plausible.io. Exactly like that, yes. In a jail, the software is an Elixir, so practically zero issues. Thank you, Elixir people and Erlang people. Erlang and FreeBSD, they're still like first-class citizens to each other, by the way, so that's
Hmm.
nice.
That's cool.
But it does have kind of a custom database. Not a, it's a famous database. It's called ClickHouse, which is a high-performance database for real-time data. And ClickHouse, while it doesn't have a port, the ClickHouse corporation does provide a FreeBSD binary. So that also worked out of the box without any issues. That's on what I was working on today. And another one which I think Stefano has blogged about was Uptime Kuma, which is a monitoring system.
How's that
Uptime
spelled?
Kuma.
I
It's
got
it's
Uptime.
phonetic. Uptime, yeah, Uptime dash Kuma, or without the
A
dash, however you want. Yeah, Kuma.
Kuma? Kuma?
Kuma, yes.
Okay.
Kuma works in a jail. I tried VNet jail. I tried non-VNet jail, aka inherit. I tried all kinds of jails just to make sure that
Yeah.
everything works fine. It's a single patch. There's like a single line where it says if OS equals Linux, or rather it's Node.js. So if platform equals Linux, I changed that. If platform equals FreeBSD, no problems. If you want a demo, I have one deployed for a customer, which is at, in case you want to show it, it's status.radar.am. Yeah.
Well, let's see what
It's
happens. I've
cute.
got the link in
Yeah.
there. I guess I can drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should draw it. I think it should be working fine. This is the public page of Uptime Command. There you go.
Clickable, clicky, clicky, or
I didn't enable any features, so this is like the bare minimum that you would see.
okay. Cool.
The media radar AM, that's an S3 open source alternative called, one second, called DCH would remember the name.
Seaweed
The
FS.
original, no, the original S3 alternative. I'm trying to remember the name. I'm so
Minio?
sorry. Minio, thank you, Minio, yes.
There he
Minio,
is.
yeah. So Minio in a jail is working amazingly. We moved this customer from Elastic Beanstalk plus other AWS crap plus S3 to a bare metal machine with FreeBSD GLs with Minio. They're just to understand how happy they are. Their average response time moved from 3+ seconds, right? Like that was the minimum. Like the 3+ seconds was the minimum. It went to 143 milliseconds average.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, we had an IPv6 question that you may have caught the tail end of. Welcome, welcome. Antranig was hoping to follow up on Patrick Howson's discussion about IPv6, but perhaps you have some insights to share. Antranig, do you want to paraphrase
Yeah.
what a
I'll
second
go it
ago?
again. Let's take this example. Volter gives me a single slash 64. Now I can get more. That's not the problem. If I want to, I can. But let's say I have one single slash 64. I want to give an IPv6 to a jail. Now, if I do the inherit network stack, great, everything works fine. If I do the new network stack, great, I can assign a specific IP to the jail. But what if I want to do VNet? How would I do it then? Like, would I assign a single slash 128 to the external interface and then have a slash 64 on a bridge and enable routing? I got confused there a bit. Now, in real life examples like Michael's house, we have slash 48 or slash 56. Yes, 56 or slash 56, right? That would be in a real life example when you do actual production. Of course, RIPE would also give you, I want to say, slash 32, if I'm not mistaken, when you get your ASN number, right? Or if you are an individual, aka not an ISP, you can get a slash 48 as an individual, which is amazing. But if we have a single slash 64, that's where I'm stuck at. How did Patrick Howson do that? I got confused. Either he's breaking the RFC, but it's not causing him any problems. That's what would Jan say, or I'm not figuring out how that part of networking works. DCH, you might have answers because you're an IPv6 guy. No, you have multiple IPv6, right? Like slash 64 and sorry, slash 48 and call today, right?
Yeah, I don't use IPv6, public IPv6 in jails. So I only assign them a zero tier IPv6 in every jail.
Oh, I see.
But I know who does. So Mega has done this.
Oh, that's a good point. I'll text him.
Yeah, I've got a great blog post from him, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here
okay.
it is.
And Dave, are you using the not the link local, sorry, the other one? What's it called? There's even a public database, so people don't have conflicts in the future. I'm trying to remember.
Private IPv6 space.
Yeah. Private.
It's like if7 or something like that.
Yes, it's
zero tier just assigns one randomly for me. It does it already, but
who does that? Sorry,
the zero tier app that I use
does that. Okay.
Signing IPv6. Oh, am I on mute? No, I'm not.
No, you're not. You're
good. You're good.
Because Nico, who is one of the owners of business in Europe, where they have a green data center, they have a public database for ULA. I just remembered that ULA, unique local address. Yes, yeah, IPv6 ULA. Database, I want to say. There we go. That's the website. Let me send the link. This is actually very interesting. The idea is amazing. Now the implementation is a whole other thing. But on this website, what Nico did for his company, Unglick, excuse my German, I'm more of a French guy. He basically, people apply for a ULA with the idea that we do not have conflicts in the future, right? So like I own God knows how many networks. Let's try Googling, control Fing my name, Antranik Vartanyan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've applied for 6 networks there, right? My company, my community, my customer, and the government apparently. So like I applied for this and I got slash 48 with the ideas that other people don't use the same slash 48 in their network. So if we do, let's say, tunneling in the future, we wouldn't have a problem. And the amazing thing is that even people from the US government have actually added their networks here, including the DoD, for example. So there are 12 entries of the US DoD with their different networks. So
but it's really the DoD or some OpenBSD hacker thinking they're extremely witty.
Yeah, there's a good number here. Like for example, Cisco, with their kind of data centers and stuff that they have. I think the one in Frankfurt, which was their first IPv6 network back in the day, they also applied. So like as far as I can tell, a lot of operators have applied or generated even their ULAs in this website. So we never would have conflicts in the future ever. I mean, it's a couple of trillion IPs, so that wouldn't be much of a problem. Yeah, but yeah, and the company Unglick is maintaining a very, very large list.
Ungleich.
Currently, it's 6,000 entries, so that's a good number, I guess.
But it doesn't actually prevent conflicts because it's not an official registry. It's not.
Yeah, you could go in and literally copy my own network, right? I mean, sure, yeah. It's more like a Good Samaritan kind of thing.
Yeah. So this only applies to your internal networks, not one on public internets.
Yes. For example, in my house, when because I use Hurricane Electric, so each device would get multiple IPv6s, one tentative for public IP access and one tentative for or private IP access. So that would be my ULA. But then my ULA also has a static entries in it for the servers. So inside the house, it would use the static servers with the ULA. So because the public IPs could change, for example, because of any reasons. Now, in my house, it wouldn't because I'm using the Hurricane Electric static tunnel. But if it was my ISP, there's a large chance that they would change my IPv6 range during a DHCP interaction or something. So on that end, ULAs are amazing. I've even had a use case for a lab where we did IPv6 only network as an experiment to see what would happen if anyone had an IPv6 only network in Armenia. And we started with the ULAs and then we added the public IPv6. And that was a huge bonus because we know that this is what the IP address of the DNS server is, regardless of what IP address we get from the ISP. So that was a good use case as well. So it's a good one. Also, ULAs are useful for other things. Like if you want to do an NAT64, you can use the ULA as a prefix, right? So it would be part of that as well. So it has its good benefits. Thank you for the link, by the way, for the dual stack. I'll read it today. Oh, I figured out what he's doing
Oh,
already.
so unrelated, what block size should I use for DDing a floppy image from Eric's presentation? It looks bootable rather than a bunch of files to read.
What happens if you don't specify a block size?
I'm trying exactly that first. I just let it default to what I think is 512 byte, but what do I know? I guess I could do a search. Let's see. There were some great talks there. But Dave, do you have any comments on the highlights of Eurobhyvecon Conf for those who didn't attend?
I need another week to recover from it.
Yeah, I know. Yes, yes. It was intense.
Cool stuff. So I would probably pick one or two things. Number one was the Japanese student who had ported Calico to FreeBSD. So Calico is like a mesh. It's like the mesh networking that's used in Kubernetes and Podman networks in Linux. And although he chose IPFW instead of PF, that is a minor thing to maybe to patch up compared to actually getting all the work done in the first place. So that's pretty cool. What else? Oh yeah, I liked Florian Wobbs's talk on running current on OpenBSD, and it kind of reflects a lot my own experiences running current for FreeBSD, which is you spend less time dealing with broken stuff because you can get it fixed straight away. I guess that's it in a nutshell.
Cool. Yeah, it was great. It was intense. It was delightful.
So, Antranik, did you get plausible working in a jail? And I guess the main thing was
Yes.
What's the stupid database called again? ClickHouse.
ClickHouse, yes.
Yeah. So which ClickHouse did you use in the end? Did you use the downloaded one from upstream, or did you build it or use it from the port?
So I used the one that they provided.
Yeah.
I used the one that they provided, and it's working like a charm, honestly, like no problems at all in running it in a jail. Again, for the FreeBSD Elixir part, I think there was like a single library that I had to patch, like 1 or 2 lines of code. I'm pretty sure I have it documented. I even sent it to you when I did that. The ClickHouse one, I'm very sad that it's not in ports yet, but it seems a bit more complicated because it doesn't have an offline build, if it makes sense. It fetches a lot of stuff when it's building, which is not something we do on Pujir. Now, my problem with plausible on FreeBSD or plausible overall is not plausible per se, but rather ClickHouse. It uses all of the resources of the machine. Like they have this fancy mechanism of figuring out how much empty or like non-usable CPU slash or memory you have, and they just load into all of it. And they're like, okay, we'll deallocate it when other processes need. And I'm like, this is an amazing idea if you're running only ClickHouse on a server, but a terrible idea if you're doing other complicated things. I've yet to try RCTL with ClickHouse and see what happens when I do resource limitation. But for now, the customer has agreed to migrate all of Plausible with his database and everything into a separate machine. So we'll be like, okay, at least we don't, hurt our PHP applications there, right? So that's kind of good, I guess. But no, they liked it. I mean, it's the open source version, the community edition, as they call it. A pro tip, by the way, all of the pro features is in there, but not as an API call. They're all in there as an Erlang function. So what I did for my customer, if they wanted to use the pro features like managing domains, not managing data, is I connect over the Erlang socket, in this case, the Beam RemSH, and I created a separate Phoenix application which just calls those over RPC, which is not available in the community edition's REST API, but it's available obviously in the code anyway. Very, very interesting interaction there. But yeah, I mean, that also works. As far as I can tell, it's definitely not a violation of the AGPL in any way, because I'm not modifying their code anyway. Like, the code actually just exists there. So yeah, if you have a single node, this is an option. Oh, thank you. I'll have a look at that.
Other jail topics. Alexander, how's the change list for jail going for FreeBSD 15?
Well, we're still waiting on a nice mechanic to be able to say package -R, here's the package base repo, install a jail with package base. That works really well if you have a package based system, and it does not work so well if you don't have a package based system.
Rephrase, you might want package-based jails on a non-package based host.
I want package based jails on a non-package based host.
So that is the scenario you're talking about. Cool.
Yeah, package base puts a massive amount of slowing down the build. Like, I can build very, very fast without package based and reinstall my system very, very fast, which I want to do on the host. And to build package based takes too long. I don't want to do it as the main thing on my host, but I do want to do it as a jail, and that's not working so well. But Dave knows a lot more about this than me, I bet.
I did go to the developer summit last week, so I did learn some stuff. So for me, building package base is faster than building non-package sets, and it probably depends on exactly what you're building. So the thing I'm comparing is when I do my normal build from source, I have two choices. I can go into the release directory and go make, I can't remember if it's CP or CD-ROM, and that makes the distribution tables that we're familiar with. And that is definitely slower than making package sets themselves without those tables. So the package sets for me building is definitely faster. I am not entirely sure how, when you're doing your upgrades, Alex, I guess you were doing a from source in place upgrade, going build world, install worlds, etc.
Yeah, I don't make the sets.
Okay, so then that would definitely that would be quicker. Generally in jails, I almost always use the published tables or package sets, because I'm usually, when I have a jail, it's about the user land, and that I rarely need to have a different user land than the one I've got, whereas I often want a different kernel. So I would probably always use the published ones.
I just don't use the published ones because I'm usually USB tethering.
So you got to doubt it's your network that's limiting it, is it?
Always has been.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess that makes two of us because the network here sucks. That's actually why I build from source. It's quicker to download and build and distribute locally than it is to pull everything from upstream.
Me too. Growing up in the Midwest, you know, we don't Midwestern USA, like we don't really have internet. We have like 20 megabit up and down if you pay $100 a month for it.
Yeah, well, I only get down, not up. So it's very painful. Yeah, and the pricing is similar. So the other thing for package base is that the thing that I do not know how to do is I do not know how to bootstrap an empty directory, which could be a jail or it could be something else, or it could be a boot environment from a system that is not the same. So if I'm running a 16 host and I want to bootstrap a 15 directory with package, I do not know how to do that. And I don't know anyone who's answering that sort of question.
What I was thinking, although I haven't tried it, so it might be stupid to speak on it publicly like this, but what I was thinking is that maybe in user share examples, maybe we could put some in user share examples, because like the BSD install script, if you look what Isaac was cooking up, it references the package repo file directly. So on a non-package based system, if you put the base package repo file in your system and package knows about it, it just explodes. Right? Like package will start, you know, trying to partially package base your system and it's completely broken. So you can't do that, but maybe if we had it in user share, maybe package has a subdirectory in there, I don't know, examples, then maybe you could do that.
Well, what would be, I'm not quite clear what we would put in the examples directory. What would we put in there?
We would put
commands you use or
repo files for package for the different repos that we were not using. So on 15, you could have a repo for 14 base packages there, and then you could use that file to bootstrap a jail that has the 14 user land.
And just copy them in. I'm pretty sure people come up with 5 reasons why we shouldn't do that. But nothing, it triggers my spidey sense. It doesn't tell me why we definitely shouldn't do it. But one pragmatic thing would be the package stuff is relatively big, and we would then have to ship these things in base packages, which we wouldn't want to, or in the base tarball. I need to ask and find out if this is actually possible at all, because it's pretty important. Yeah. But other than everything else I've tried, I can now get working with package base, everything. And I've done upgrades from 15 to 16, from 14 to 15, from 15 into boot environments, and all of the combinations, including setting things up in jails or not. And the only thing that's blocking is if you're on a different OS version than the host compared to the jail, I don't know how to bootstrap. It should be easy. It should be very, very easy.
It used to work and it stopped working for me.
Yeah.
So based on your input, Dave, I've put other linked talks here, such as Jan's fast jail provisioning with ZFS. I think this was the Japanese students talk you mentioned, bring the cloud native containers. And there's Luca's talk on package base, in which the notion of package upsets did make it, because any set you choose will upset somebody. Antranig, you mentioned user share examples. We have Dave and Alexander here. What are the expectations for user share examples? Because that is one heck of a tip of the iceberg and long slippery slope to just sort of
Oh yeah, like the
dodge.
JLConf, because there's user local share user share examples JL or
Mhm.
JLs, I'm not sure. Those were written by Devin Teskash. She did
No, yeah,
an
right.
amazing
Yes.
job back in the
Amen.
day with amazing scripts, but they are not outdated. I mean, if you use them, they will work.
Still
But
work,
now
yes.
we have better tooling.
Ah,
So we should think about updating those with like the include file or the include derivative is the correct term, I think, with the include derivative and how to use, let's say, netgraph without Devin's script, because now we have a better understanding of how to do it on production and stuff like that. So that's my point of, and that's just like one thing that I've looked at, right? If we go into user share examples, there's a lot of interesting things in there that we should start looking into.
Jamie, do you have any thoughts on that?
That's
Do you have some absolute canonical favorite examples to share with the world?
by the way, I'd be willing to commit Jailer's default template into there because that one handles everything, right? Like from VNet to ePair to bridging to
Is it
basically everything
Jailer
that you would need.
independent?
Yeah, the Jailer is Jailer independent.
Oh, the config is. Oh, you're right. It does.
Yeah.
Good. Well, um, yes, but be super clear on how, someone might want IPv4, someone might want the same thing
Yes.
with IPv6, some may
Yes.
want not VNet, some might want
Oh
this.
yeah, jail
Just
update.
have,
I'm so sorry. I had one.
ooh, really?
Configuration information in case anyone runs into the same problem that I have.
Yeah.
Let me find the sysrc for it. Sysctl for it. So in many cases with IPv6, you might have your own IPv6 on the host,
Yeah.
which also has
Oh boy.
another IPv6 range. Oh, this is nice.
Continue.
That's nice.
I
Sorry.
don't want to change subject
So
here.
yeah, I was looking at that too.
I know. Like, ooh,
So
ooh, ooh, hardware.
here's a very common case, right? So your host has a /64, and your host also has another /64 for your jails, right? So you're separating them properly, let's say. Now, the interesting thing that happens is um, you're getting your IPv6s using Slack. That's how you get your IPv6 typically. Very small number of people might also use DHCPv6, but we're talking specifically about the Slack case. Now, what's interesting is when you want to do routing on IPv6, right? So you want to say route what's it called gateway IPv6 enable equals yes in sysrc. You're going to have an interesting problem of Slack not working because it's going to be like, I'm a router. Why am I asking another router for a route? The sysadmin is supposed to do this manually. But you're getting it over Slack, and the route itself might not be a static IPv6 address. Instead, it might be, let me check, 6, something like this. Let me just paste it into the chat. That might be easier. Destination, a copy. There we go. Paste, right? So this is what your default route is. Now, as you can see, that is a link local. Your gateway address is a link local, not a static IPv6.
That's really,
So
and this was one of the ways that IPv6 is designed, so you don't have
yes,
any of this stuff, but it's
yes.
confusing.
So an interesting thing that we have is sys. I'm trying to remember. Is it a sysrc or a sysctl? That's what I'm trying to check. Just a second. There we go. It's an rcconf variable called IPv6 CPE WANF. So let me copy paste that.
Please do.
Right? So I'm like, okay, so this is my WANF. This is a CPE mode. CPE stands for, I have no idea. One sec. I actually have no idea.
Customer premises equipment, I think.
That's
from my
the
I
cloud, right?
think, yeah, it's like CPE.
Yeah, it is. I have one.
Yeah, customer premise equipment, right?
Yeah.
So like, okay, so this is what my WAN interface is, which means that although I am a router, I will be willing, I need to do Slack on VTNet, and it's okay for you to add a default route for VTNet 0. This is documented, but like you have to read the whole documentation to figure out, oh, this is what I'm missing, right? So this is what happens with multiple of our customers when they're using let's say Vultr or even Hetzner, because the gateway is going to be in link local, which means you need the Slack, which means you need and you also need to enable routing because you want your GLs to have their own network for IPv6. So this was a very interesting problem to figure out. I looked into the history of mailing lists and forums, combining some ideas here and there, reading the docs. This was like the easiest way to do. Historically, there is still a sys CTL that you can tune, but that you don't need to do that anymore. Just like you don't need to do like IP forwarding equals 1 because we have the equivalence in RC-conf, and that's the RC-conf equivalent. You specify what the WANF is. In case anyone needs to, this was a common problem that I had. So yeah. What else? When we setting this for a customer was very interesting because I kept seeing problems, and we ended up having these kind of solutions. I'll leave the rest for another week, which is DNS server stuff and mail server stuff, all in jails. We actually we finished moving to Power DNS, and we were using OpenSMTPD, obviously. So that's for another week, I guess, until I finalize my notes there as well.
Well, circling back, are there routing examples and examples? And I am now curious, having been trained to ignore examples short of vmrun.sh, like, should they be referenced in the handbook? Should every example have context?
Examples.
So
there is an IPv6
are they just a
folder in
dumping
there.
ground? Okay.
There's an IPv6. There's an IPv6 folder, user share examples IPv6.
Yeah.
Which is like a very long documentation back from the CAME era. Remember CAME?
Okay, CAME, yes, like
CAME,
okay,
yeah,
great.
by Itojun. May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Exactly. So, this may be due for a little love, dare I say? What do I know?
Yeah, there's an Etsy example for like for makeconf.
I'll drop the CGET page.
I can tell you that the dwatch folder is up to date. That's for sure. It's a single file. That's good to know.
Yeah,
I used it a couple of days ago. The net graph. Yes, there.
Sorry, where did you find this CPE WANF note? You said you had to read all the documentation. Which bit of documentation was it?
Right. So I started digging into a sysctl-a, and then I grabbed, I want to say IPv6 or IP6 rather, and I started reading things with their description, so that -d, and figuring out what things are. In the end, I ended up somehow into man.rc.conf, where you would find the IPv6 CPE WANF documented there, and then it tells you specifically what it modifies, which is RFC 6220, if I'm not mistaken, 624. Yeah, 624, 6204. That's a CCTL, which is the RFC standard. So it says, so now when you have forwarding equals 1 and that CCTL equals to 1, then it will accept router advertisement. Otherwise, it would not accept router advertisement. It's an RC-conf. Historically, it didn't have an RCconf entry. Whoever added it, thank you very much. We owe you coffee. It was only a CCTL. So yeah. What else in here that I
where did you
found?
find v6, or does it get brought in from another part in the source tree? Because I'm not seeing it.
So user share examples, IPv6, IP is capital.
Open that link I just dropped. I'm either blind or it's brought in from somewhere else. So example slash IP v6 capital letters.
Clicking on it, loading. Okay. It's not in here.
Right.
That's
so
interesting.
Make file, but maybe it's capital. Let me try capitals. IP, like you said. No, IPFW.
No, I don't see. Did they remove it? I am on 13.2 or 13.3.
I have a system I can SSH into, but that's a bit
Me
wacky.
too. Let me go to a more modern one. Let me go to 14.3. That's the latest release, right? Okay. User share examples. No, it's still there. IPv6.
Well,
yeah, so it's coming in from somewhere.
Yeah, it's coming in from somewhere, and that wasn't obvious from the make file unless it's
Yeah.
make depend, maybe. Sorry.
I can find it. 1 sec. The file name is usage. Let's go to developer FreeBSD source, find the name usage. I assume we have millions of files named usage, but no, not really. Wait a second.
I'm on a Alpha 2 system, and I'm not seeing IPv6, so maybe it got accurate. And maybe that is accurate. Alrighty then.
I am on. Okay, let me try a fresh machine. That's a whole other thing, right? User share examples. No, I still have it. This is a fresh machine. I still have it. Oh my God, where is it coming from?
I see it on an older machine, but a 14 machine, but not 15. Maybe IPv6 got axed. Just saying. Alexander, what's your Spidey.d saying?
This is so interesting.
Which that's one example, but the whole broader policy of user share examples IPv6 seems to have vanished on 15. And do you know anything about that?
Usage.
No, but there's a git command which I'm forgetting, which you can say git log for a file that doesn't exist.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Let's see. CD source git log. User share examples. What was the file called?
IPv6.
IPv6, the V IP capital V small / usage.
You're right.
Folder named IPv6 and the file name is usage folder directory. I'm sorry. Please don't kill me. I'm not a Windows person.
Yeah.
It's basically, it was from the very origin times of IPv6.
Yeah, I can see
that.
It got axed.
It got axed last year.
I linked the commit in.
There you go. Thank you.
Dave, how did you find that so fast?
He's
because I spent a lot of time using Git going.
Well, so
I want to learn how to find stuff so fast.
Maybe we should add back this file, but the updated version of it.
Well, what is the broad policy on examples? Is there a policy of any kind whatsoever, or is it a dumping ground for those who think, hey, something doesn't belong in the handbook or the here or there?
I mean,
or what?
Look, it does get updated. Like there's also, user share examples OCI on like how to use a container file, right?
No
like
kidding.
that's new.
Sweet.
Right. There's also
one at a time.
I have this impression like I'm not really welcome to just put stuff in user share examples, which is very funny because I have an impression like I'm welcome to do just about whatever I want. But
you should do whatever you want unless someone starts hitting you. So
that would violate the code of conduct.
Anyone who adds more documentation to FreeBSD deserves a green light to go ahead and add more documentation to FreeBSD.
Now, however, feel free to delete the sendmail directory in there. So
what, Uncle Dave? You said to tag you in my reviews?
I didn't say that. No.
Nobody said that.
I might tag you in my reviews because I don't know that man page stuff, right? I'm just going. I can write the words, but I don't know the tags.
Oh yeah, please tag me in reviews. At this point I'm starting to know like a lot of little trivia details about how the tags play nicely or don't play nicely with each other.
No, the thing for the next, I guess, month or so is to add handbook stuff for OCR containers.
Now, I don't want to sound too pedantic, but I think in the user share examples, we can also add programming examples, like an example of capsicum, an example of what do you call that? Flua. Oh, there is Flua. That's
There is
nice.
Flua,
So like,
yes.
yeah. So like stuff like that could be useful for the developer community as well, not just operators. So, any kind of examples for how to use specific libraries and stuff like that could be very, very useful, I guess. Michael, there's SES. I wonder if that's about the storage enclosure system.
Should
Yeah,
be.
it is.
Should be.
Yeah, it is. Yes, SD. There we go.
Yeah, no, I see that. And I'm searching for policies on this.
This is a good topic to find out about.
Because it's a meta topic. It's like, high level
It is, yeah,
architecture.
yeah.
And ironically, Google AI has a better description than like anything, any specific thing. I'm finding
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it could be like, how we have a policy that if you write a new command, then you should have the man page for it. Otherwise, it's not complete.
Manual page,
Maybe,
yes, definitely.
yeah.
But this
So
free for all, I don't know.
we kind of have that policy, right? Like, but it's like asterisk asterisk. So if you introduce any user-facing anything that does not have documentation, you are in fact introducing a bug into the documentation, and whoever fixes that must use a fixes commit header or commit footer to attach it to your commit. However, we do not want to block stuff that doesn't have a documentation because literally we'll just not have stuff if that's how it goes, which is really depressing, and we shouldn't talk about it too much.
So we can say that user share examples is nice to have, not mandatory, but nice to have.
Oh, that's without question, but it's kind of not received much love of any kind. And this is what our friends at the Goog say. And anywho, there it is. Don't shoot the messenger. But I am genuinely curious what, if any, policy there is that's like, hey.
This one is amazing, by the way. There's a user share
amazing.
examples
Yes.
find interface, which is a C code that prints information about interfaces. So like, what interfaces do you have? What properties they have? Are they, what do you call that? What routes they have and stuff like that. This is nice. This is like very nice example. Oh, and there's a README. So this is so old that we have to tell people that READMEs didn't have a .md in the end. Like they were just README without markdown.
Well, that's free markdown, yes, basically. Well, yeah. I broke Google Docs. Oh, come
Getting
on.
older. Okay.
Well, okay. But yeah, I don't find or see an official policy, and
yeah.
now it broke the line space. Oh no, Goog. Anyone working at Goog?
I've tried to get more like, hey, like, can we please like make people who are just introducing code that like, can we please make them document it? And it's like, Alex, shut your mouth. Like, we are not going to do that. Like, literally, they'll just not give us the code if we do that. Like, this is really like, people will really die on that hill. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, this is why OpenBSD has really comprehensive, solid documentation, because they just go, no, you cannot commit this without that. And they're very consistent about it.
It takes me probably 100 times as long to try to figure out how something works and write some documentation on it as it would take the author.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's very frustrating. Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Nothing wrong with the documenter not having to supply the documentation that must be available to answer questions about
it. That's right. Yeah. I guess it depends on people's community spirit.
My favorite one too is, well, we'll document this when we're done. We're still building it. It's like you've been building it for 5 years. And I would have tested it by now if I could figure out how it worked.
Now, the Illumos people have a very nice idea that even if you're not documenting as you go, you should comment on what you're doing as you go, because the motive matters as much as the result. Like, why didn't you do it this way? So future generations would be like, oh, we didn't use it this way because we tried, and here are the problems that we faced, and they keep all of that data in their control management system that they have, whatever the name was, Redmine, whichever it is, right? So that's a
Excuse
good
me.
one. Yeah.
I must go. I have another meeting.
Take care,
See
Dan.
y'all
See ya.
later.
Safe sitting.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
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 If we're a little bit out of topics, before everybody else has to go, I would like some help with the platform section of the hardware release notes.
If you want, we can close the call so Michael can do the publishing process, and then we can go back to off-topic stuff.
Yeah, but people eat this stuff up, and it's a real-world example of what it looks like in the real world. So let's take a quick look at that.
Behind the scenes.
There's not much behind when it's all hopefully transparent. You said platforms in this regard?
Yes. So the hardware release notes has two sections, platforms and devices.
Oh,
So it
okay.
used to be called supported platforms and target architectures or something like incredibly wordy, and I just hated that and changed it to platforms. But so I'm having a problem of two problems. The first problem, and whatever other problems that other people notice, I would love to hear that. But two problems that really strike me is that you can't have parentheticals in a title heading. It's just wrong. Like whatever anybody says, it's wrong, and it's always been wrong, and so that's a huge problem with these platforms because we don't have a really good consensus, I think, on, or I'm not aware of a good consensus on what this stuff is called. Like everybody knows ARM as ARM64, but it's, some parts of FreeBSD. Sorry?
Ignore whatever they
Sorry?
said, but to add ThunderX, because that's my one fully featured ARM64 system. Thank you very much.
Add what?
ThunderX under one of these. Maybe it's before the mag.
Ampere made that?
I don't know who made that. Let me see. I'll look that up while you're talking and talking.
EMAG is the preceding CPU for the Ultra. We also support Ultra and Ultra Max. Should probably have both of those. So, Alex, the reason this is confusing is because ARM made it confusing. So what we have is we have one architecture, the ARM architecture, and we have two, I'm going to use the wrong words here. We have two sort of variants, at least two variants in it. We have ARM7, we have at least two varieties of ARM7, we have ARM8 and ARM9, and all of these are CPU instructions on ARM platforms, but the ARM7 and ARM7 is 32-bit only, and 64-bit ARM can be Arch64. It can be, and that should include both ARM9 and ARM8 from my recollection. But Andy, one who knows this, he is Mr. ARM for us. And
Andrew told me today we have ARM9. Like we do have ARM9 and ARM8.
Yeah.
But I'm having a problem with how to do the section headings. So in FreeBSD, if you use the make targets in user source, it'll tell you that we've got ARM64. We call it ARM64 as a target, and we call it ARC64 as a target arc. And Ed Mask did not like where I posted, in like a few headings down, FreeBSD supports 32-bit ARM, and then in the parentheticals, ARM v7 and ARC32. But it's like, okay, I can't just say ARC32 platform support. Nobody's going to get that with Control F. Nobody who's reading this document is going to know that.
So this
And like,
so
yeah, everything you have highlighted, in my opinion, is much better than what it currently says, but it's still completely broken. Like, if you have to put parentheticals in a title heading, you're not editing correctly. Like, that's universal, uncontested everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, so if you scroll a little further, then you'll see like we don't differentiate when we get to like our real tier 2 architectures. The titles look nice and clean. Like we don't differentiate any of this stuff. We just PowerPC architecture, which is actually not correct. It's actually power architecture, really, since a long time ago, but it doesn't matter because
did they rip out the Mac support or not?
Yes, the Mac support was 32-bit and it's gone now.
Is
So
it
we've
still
got
called
2
Power on
targets
my
for PowerPC.
64-bit tower? Okay.
Yeah, we've got 2 targets for that. We've got PowerPC 64 and PowerPC 64 LE, which is Power 8 and newer. And really,
that's not
we
even
should work
said
that
here.
in there somehow.
Yeah, you should. And thank you for caring, because it's real easy not to care about that. But
And it's hard to get it working because everybody wants it to say different things. And it's like,
okay, is this document allowed to have a little clarification there that it is quite literally also known as ARM v7, but 32-bit ARM is indeed quite good, and then also known as AAARch32, blah, blah, blah.
this is exactly the text that eMask wanted me to not use. And it's like, he's like, well, it's not really true. Like 32-bit ARM is ARM v4, v5, v6, and we don't support those. And it's like, yeah, but like, what do you want me to say? Like, how do you want me to write this that's legible to humans?
Yeah. Whew. Okay.
But I think that actually, even though the sentence, he doesn't like this sentence, I think that sentence is actually like, I don't know how to do better than that, but I would love to hear if you guys have any ideas. And then the title for where 2.3 is, I want to change that. Honestly, I want to change it to ARC32 because that's accurate and it's one word and it's reasonable and it matches what we do in RISC and power and what we should do in x86.
Well, yeah, or
But
32
I
or
feel like
64-bit. And oh god, it's also known as AMD 64, which is yeah, ew. I wanted to just give you like hug ups on this, but yeah, untangling that is a mess, and compounded by the whole target and target arch just in the code where you have to specify one or the other.
Well, and then also like technically like the mailing lists have a name, right?
Yep.
And the project has a name. So that's
Yep.
why I got the idea, although the link is broken. If you try clicking on it, it doesn't work. Only for Nape knows how those links work. They're like custom macros, and he wrote a thing in the FDP explaining how to use it, and I read it and tried to make it, and it still doesn't make any sense. But
And are these all wiki pages? For the links?
So
Looks
those
like
links are to the wiki pages, unfortunately, because every single one of those wiki pages is so unmaintained that most of it is wrong. But if you scroll up, you'll see what I'm trying to do. And Carlavia and Mark might be killing that, but we'll see if we'll see what we can do. So this is what I want to do, where it says FreeBSD/AMD64 is supposed to be a link to the platforms page, like freebsd.org/platforms is like the canonical home of the AMD 64 project. Like I said, those links are broken, unfortunately.
Okay. Well,
I don't know how the custom logic works that they built.
Okay. Well, between the fact that we're rummaging around the examples directory and these wiki pages at the top of the hardware notes, a bunch of broken wiki pages or out of date ones. For example, the Ampere page disappeared the moment I needed it most, and like
I don't think I'm welcome to take those links out of there. I would like to take those links out of there. They shouldn't be there. Like, I mean, I've spent literally 1,000 hours on the hardware release notes in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Like, I've written style guides about it. I've done a lot of stuff, right? And I don't like I want to turn this into like an actually nice, respectable document, and it can't have the very first links on the page go to something that is 90% so out of date that it's completely wrong and doesn't even work. Like that's not fair to me.
That's not a great flex. Okay. Dave has posted a nice thing on the naming, which is a good start, which is good. Warning, there are 3 variations. Oh gosh. Okay, so there's
Yeah, so that's why I kind of want to name it ARC64 because that's like that's what it's actually called,
in
but
FreeBSD
nobody wants
land,
to read that.
correct? Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's what it's on Wikipedia too. Like they have a logo for it and everything. Like that's what ARM actually calls the architecture, but
if I search AMD 64, you sort of call it that. Because at least that's, yeah, lowercase AMD 64. Yep, you'll find that in a directory, and same here. And that's what they call it, love it or hate it.
yeah, that's why I want to use those links to the platforms page.
I
Because
see.
the platforms page is not on the wiki. Like that's on actual freebsd.org, and like someone needs to fix that or it needs to be deleted, period. Like that, you know what I mean? This is not like, oh, FreeBSD is dead. You know what I mean? Like we can't
I'm
do
bringing
that.
that up right now, November 20th, 2023. Great. Yeah, hasn't seen a ton of love. Here it is. Uh, uh, you've got the naming page in the doc. I will overwrite it with the platforms page, which does spell these out. I'd almost say better than there, insofar as you've got that naming that you'll encounter in the source tree. You've got that, but what about all the also knowns as? Because there's an endless supply of those. Oh,
Yeah, that we need the also known as because the primary expectation of hardware release notes is to be interacted with find in page. But it also
yeah.
needs to be like human legible as well. Like it can't be just a disaster.
So did Ed kind of imply that everyone knows that V8 is 64-bit and V6 is 32-bit? Is that sort of everyone knows that?
No, he didn't, and I don't think that everybody knows that either.
Okay.
I think that people like the same thing, like it's very nervous of what to put, for x86 64. Like it's not a given that I can just change it like that. Because, for a while, like we didn't want to remove hammer. It used to say in parentheses hammer, like the
Oh, I
original
didn't even, yeah,
code
I saw that for
name.
years and have no idea what
Like
that refers to.
they didn't,
The
that's
nickname?
the original code name of
Ah,
the
Yeah,
project
that's the
at
original
AMD.
code name. Yeah, like the
And like
initial x86-64, yes.
charming.
it's they don't want to remove that. Like, or they didn't want to remove that 2 years ago when I brought it up last, I think. Um, so what was I looking for?
Soft float? I never even heard of that one. Okay. So, and is Power Mac in fact a different one? Or it's just bundled into PowerPC, which is sort of its own bucket of fish.
Yeah, Power Mac is PowerPC 32. And so we're killing support for that in 15.
Yeah. Well,
It
but there
was
is 64
supported in
bit.
14.
Well, there's 64-bit Power Mac. How does that now fit into this topology?
Um,
What do you call that?
the 64-bit Power Mac was
Taxonomy.
not PowerPC, it was Intel.
G5? What's the G5?
G5 was 32-bit.
You sure? Okay.
Positive. I just
G5.
looked
Okay,
into all this
cool.
stuff today.
You did.
I had to go line by line because somebody mixed together ARM v7 and ARM v6
Yeah.
in the ARM 32. So I had to go through each one individually and look it up and make sure that it was really ARM v7 or delete it, which was super annoying. I did not like that.
Well, hold on. Users of 64-bit big endian CPUs right off of here. I mean, I could go retry it, but that's our And again, I tried to make that sucker work recently for the sake of those on the Beehive call interested in power. And hate to say, you say you confirmed that G5 is not 64-bit, even though it kind of suggests it based on this PPC page.
That's correct. Mac G5, I'll look it up one more time.
Well, note the page I just dropped in there, the platforms PCC, under platforms, of course.
Yeah, that's still... It's PowerPC 970, 64-bit PowerPC CPUs. God fucking damn
I
it.
know, right? So it's like, oh, it's so hard to untangle, and it's dead. And why didn't they sort these by like tier 1, 2, 3? Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
They're 64 alphabetical. Thank you for
it's
taking on
so
this
bad.
challenge, because it is not easy. It is so
Thank you so
not
much.
easy.
Nobody would have caught that. If you hadn't caught that, nobody would have caught that.
Justin might have, but yeah,
All three big Indian PowerPC users.
all three,
To be
exactly.
fair,
Maybe Eva
I
has
might
one, so
I might be the last Power PC 64-bit user for free. We still have Power 8 in our data center.
Yeah,
cool.
but big
Well,
Indian or little Indian? Because the little Indian stuff is still going, I think.
one little, two little feet.
The default one.
Little Indian is the current one. They're up to Power 10 actually, but I don't think we're supporting
Yes.
Power 10.
No, we
it's
don't.
more
I
the-
tried that too.
That's
The
a different
CPUs
call.
could support both for quite a while. I don't know if they
The
still do or
interesting
not.
thing that if you go to the BIOS of the Power PC systems, the IBM systems, you can enable a compatibility mode in the CPU, so you can boot
Wow.
a Power 8 image, which is apparently a requested feature by enterprises because for some reason they still run like Red Hat 5 or something. Like it's terrible when it comes to that. But yeah, however, almost none of the packages work. Like you will have to build your own stuff. There is no guarantee that. I don't think we even have a package repo, if I'm not mistaken.
And does anybody know, is anybody using Power Mac G5? Like, I know that I think it was like OpenBSD only supported the G4 actually.
Oh, I do have the hardware. I did spin it up recently. Yeah, I forget the motivation there. I just wanted to try modern stuff, and I might be able to revisit that. Or is it being axed as a platform? That's been kind of the question for years now. And you may recall from the Beehive call, we talked to OSU, OSL, like, hey, they've got the hardware. Eva was interested. Jan slightly. We could bring up
Actually,
those calls. Oh, I wanted to try OpenZFS, of course. Like, okay, where do we stand? So, yeah. Oh, boy.
The main thing with all of these is I think we need to be realistic in developers and go, how many people, developers specifically, are actively using this? In other words, they are compiling at least once a month. And when we look at that number, we will find that this list could probably be half that length.
But if the code's
honestly,
still there and the builds are still there, I mean,
yeah, well, someone has to test it and go, this doesn't work, and fix it. So we have people doing this on PowerPC 64LE. We have people doing this on ARMv7.
Organically, Dave, when 13 is like officially unsupported, this list will simplify itself.
It will, yeah.
In an instant. And I'll
well,
just
it won't
simply
simplify itself. We'll have to do it.
Well, I mean, technically,
we'll do
yes,
it.
correct.
I'll probably
From
do it.
wetware, we'll have to jump in. But my simple request would be maybe it should be organized by tier status, because it's a bit strange that, like, gee, some tier ones are below unsupported.
I'm sure that there's a macro that we can use to make this page seriously. Like on Wikipedia, any table that you have, you can just click on the headings to sort it. And like there is a macro that we can use, but none of us know ASCII Doctor well enough that will be able to click it. And maybe if I have to redo the whole table because nobody else does, and I remember that we just had this conversation 6 months ago or whatever it works out to be, then hopefully I'll be able to fix that so that you can just click on whichever one and do it. I mean, if we go back to
Alex,
historically, yeah.
Ping me after the call. I'll help you out how to do that.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. That would be a wonderful improvement.
Because docs
It-
are kind of important. And for what it's worth, the Enterprise Working Group concluded that enterprise docs are actually a valid initiative. Thank you very much. Okay, deep breath. Yeah, all true. I have high hopes for 15 release, given all the other stuff being happening, like Beehive ARM that is checked off as a checkbox, but it sure is not working well on the machines I've got, thanks to 1 Ampere not booting. And I will say publicly, right here, right now, thank you, Rebecca Cran, for, I mean, this is showing how bad the situation is, for mailing me a BIOS chip for the ASRock platform to get an update because the online updater is like not working. Where did I put that? This is like from yesterday's mail. Here we go. Rock and roll.
wow.
It's like this is how bad the broader situation is. Like it should not take kind people sending each other pre-programmed EPROMs. Like what year is this? Where did I put that? Where did I put that? I think it's here. Yes. Hiding the innocent, but like, yeah, here's the EPROM. Let me take a look. Like, yeah, that's what it looks like because I'd love to document the living heck out of Beehive on Ampere. Oh, Dave, you've got the right hardware and it boots for you. Here we go. Yep.
Mine just works, TM. Works on my
machine. Yeah, exactly. And mine probably requires that.
And I can tell you I was super relieved. I was super relieved when it did because I was thinking otherwise I'd spend quite a bit of money on hardware that doesn't do what I need. Yeah.
Lucky you. Well, you're one of the cool kids. It's clear. It's clear. Okay. Anything? Whoop. I don't want that. Anything else at this time? We are at 18 after. We've certainly gotten off of jails, but it's all good because again, this is all broadly FreeBSD 15. Let's make it as good as it can be. It's a bit of a historic opportunity given the energy at things like BeehiveCon. Check that out. Check out the videos from all the events as they trickle out. Dave, it was great to see you. Jamie, I hope we didn't bore you off at some point here. If you've got some last thoughts on jails, let us know. He rolled off. Oliver, was this what you were expecting to hear? And do you note that there are some obvious opportunities to just jump in and help with docs, especially if you know things like the subtleties of 32-bit ARM distinctions, because wow, it takes Wikipedia pages to untangle those.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm afraid I'm no expert on that.
Expertise is not required per se. It's just some experience and wisdom and patience if you really want, because one could manually, having never heard of ARM64, go in and untangle it. And it'll be a fresh set of eyes, which a lot of us don't have. So here we are stuck wondering about our old G4 Mac white iBooks, they call them. Anyway.
Right. It's like you're trying to do this and like for each one sentence you have like just like yap NATO paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. Like you need a whole whiteboard.
Just 30 minutes of research just to make one simple statement, which is like, all things legalese and you name it. Let's see. Antranig, I will reward you with the honors if you unmute.
Thank you, sir. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.
That was beautiful. Take care, all.